My name is Dr. Jacob Kimathi, the Associate Senior Pastor here at CITAM Buruburu. As a nation, we've been thrown into uncertainty with the ruling of the Supreme Court in the recent past. Many people did not expect that kind of ruling, and everyone was surprised. And with the surprise comes the uncertainty. People are asking, what will happen to us? What will happen when the elections are called again in October 17th? People are wondering whether this nation will hold together, will we erupt into chaos like we have witnessed in the past. And all these uncertainties are actually varied. There is cause to really ask ourselves, what are we in for? But in the midst of this uncertainty, I want to point us to the nature and the character of God. Let me begin by saying that God was not surprised by the ruling. He wasn't. It's not that it came to him by surprise. God knows all things. He understands all things. And in the Word of God, in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, I want to isolate two characters of God. First, in chapter 2, verse 20, we read that wisdom and power belong to God. Power is not in the domain of human beings. It's something that God has not left to human beings. And I suppose if power was left to human beings, there are those who would have a lot of it and use it against those who don't have it. So power as a component belongs to God. And God delegates power to whoever he chooses and for the period that he has chosen. So the real power in this country is not the presidency, it is not the parliament, it is actually God who delegates this power to certain people over a period of time. And what this means to us is, one, those who have power must use it for the good of those upon whom they wield power. It also means that those who, all of us as human beings, have an access to this power according to our need. When Nebuchadnezzar misused his position and power, God withdrew the power from him. It wasn't a military coup. It wasn't an invasion of another nation. God just took away his sanity. And for 7 seasons, which some people say maybe 7 years, he was mad. And he was driven out of the palace, and he was like an animal eating grass until he acknowledged that power belongs to God. And God returned his sanity, and he was able to rule again. So we must know that the one who has power and who is ruling this nation is actually God, and he uses proxies. And he might choose between the two protagonists who to give the power. But the power belongs to God. He will only delegate to any of them or any other person for a time and for a season. And since this power belongs to God, we have the access to this power. Our powerlessness might be economic, our powerlessness might be health, our powerlessness might be this or that. But when we know that power belongs to God, we can seek his power. And our God doesn't have favorites. There is no protocol when we approach God. There is no, the security detail. We can all approach God and obtain the power we need for our situation. The second nature and character of God is sovereignty over the affairs of men. In verse 21, he says, he changes times and seasons. He sets up kings and deposes them. God is sovereign over the earth and over the people he has created. By sovereignty, we mean God is able to do what he wants to do. God is not hindered. God is not, gagged. God does what he has determined to do. He will make you and I what he wants us to be. He removes the ceilings that we put on ourselves and people has put on us, and he has the ability to determine his will, and he has the ability to do what he has determined with us. Again, this tells me and you is that our battles should never be against human beings, because God is able to overlook the human beings who are standing on our way and hindering our movement and our progress, and he is able to bring us to where he wants us to bring. He wants to bring us to. And if we knew that God is sovereign and that he will do with us what he has determined to do, then we will turn our battles away from human beings and we will take our case to God and trust him and believe him and obey him and follow him and wait to see him do with us what he has determined and take us to the destiny that he has determined for us. May the Lord bless us as we reflect on these matters and as we look to his leading of this nation, and as we see to whom he delegates his power, and as we trust him to sovereignly do that which he must do and he has determined to do. The Lord bless you.